right, welcome everyone to episode 40 of APS Radio. I'm Jim Bernica, and I'm joined today by Kory Pearn from Crackyl.
Hello. Yes. Glad to be
This,
here.
I'm glad you're here too. We were talking before we started. It's been a few months in the making of just waiting for the right time to actually get you on here.
Yes. And here we are.
Yes, so lots of stuff to talk about. Before we really get into Crackyl and really what you've been doing and how I met you, let's get into how you even got involved in the fire service to begin with.
Sure. No, it was, it kind of, I stumbled upon it really. My dad owned a refrigeration, heating, air conditioning company, and that's what I thought I was going to do the rest of my life. I was going to take over that business. I was excited to do that. I wanted to do that all through high school. That was my plan. And then I was 23 years old. I was a licensed mechanic, refrigeration mechanic, gas fitter. And I thought, I had a conversation with my dad and he mentioned firefighting and I'm like, okay, I didn't know that was a thing. And then I'm thinking, okay, do you want me to be a firefighter? You don't want me to do this? So it was just, I think he just kind of planted a seed. And then in the city where I live, they had an information night on. It was basically a recruitment night, but I ended up going. I ended up going by myself. I listened to, the different fire professionals and looking, asking and speaking about what they're looking for in recruits and things like that. And then I got the fire bug. I came home. I don't know what happened, but I came home and I told my girlfriend, who's now my wife, that I want to be a firefighter now. And I told my parents. And the next weekend I was in courses and I never looked back. And it was like pretty much, I think just under 2 years to the day, I think to get hired. I had to go to school. We do a little differently where we get our training first. We go to, we get our accreditation that way, and then we start applying type thing. So a
Nice.
little bit different. Yeah. So anyways, I ended up going to fire school and getting my NFPA 1001, firefighter level 1 and 2, hazmat 472, and then came home and I guess a firefighter on paper, really.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that's how we do it here. So,
Well,
anyways, yeah. So,
it seems too like your path is similar to a lot of people where they start off doing some kind of trade and then they get that bug, they get into fire service and they have whatever they were doing beforehand now is their side hustle.
yeah, yeah,
And
I
it
did that.
sounds like you decided you had that side hustle set up, but you were like, nah, I think I'd rather start a magazine instead.
Yeah, well, it's been quite a journey, to be honest. I mean, a few things about me, like I used to be really shy. I had it would stop me from doing things I wanted to do. It was always athletic and you know, on sports teams and things like that. But when I was out of that element, I was very introverted and um, so firefighting kind of was a big part of my growth, and it was kind of that journey to become a firefighter that really started to kind of change me. So and then I was a quarterback in high school, so I couldn't be shy doing that. I had to yell the cadence and get the team to respond. So things were happening in my life, I guess, to that point that were starting to push me out of the nest and the comfort zone. And then when I got into the fire department, or when I was applying, just that journey of, you know, really seeing what you're made of. And I've never had anything kind of challenge me as much as firefighting did. And I loved it. I loved everything about it. It was just a self-discovery. And then when I got hired, I wrote a book on how to become a firefighter, and I traveled around Canada, teaching. I was, basically teaching recruits how to apply and how to get their head wrapped around what fire departments are looking for and things like that. Um, so that was a big part of my story as well. That's kind of what got me into this journey of the publication world. It was my taste of writing and doing that, and then I was brought on as a salesperson 10 years after that type thing to sell through different B2B publications. I had a Glass Canada magazine. I had a vending magazine. I had two aviation magazines. I worked on our couple fire titles we have here. And it was just I loved everything about that too. So it's been a journey. It's been a journey, and but it all comes back to firefighting that was really kind of given me that boost. And there's so much you can do, obviously, in this world where you got a podcast going and other things, and I just love the people. It's never, they like ice cream and popcorn. I knew I found my people, and that was it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Um, going when did you actually start your schooling? What year was that?
Be 2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, we're really are I think kind of the same kind of historians at this point. We're now the older guys in a lot of ways. Um, doing this for over 20 years. Was that conversation like when you had that recruit night, did they talk about any of the stuff that you're now talking about whenever you put out a magazine? Was there anything of that health and wellness or what this job could do to you if you're not careful? Was there any of that talk in there? Was it all very positive kind of propaganda stuff almost?
Yeah, absolutely not. They did not mention any of this, which I think has kind of been again part of my journey that way is that I'm discovering this as you go, and kind of being a clean slate coming in, not having I didn't know any firefighters, at the time. When I was 23, I didn't know any. So I didn't grow up in this, in this world. So it was all new and discovery. But yeah, it was never talked about. And and firefighting it's not easy, as you know it. It's like you have to change and you have to morph and you have to absorb and you have to give and you have like it's just living, breathing, thing really.
Yeah.
You know.
When you're doing this job then and you're there for a little bit, what kind of guides you into really the firefighter health and safety world that you're now in? Like what kind of was that the transaction, I guess, that made you go, wow, like because there's some of us are in attack because we're in the ropes, we're into
Yeah,
um rescue stuff, hazmat stuff, but there's not a whole lot of people that gravitate towards health and safety
sure.
amongst us.
Yeah, and it was never. I mean, I've kind of fallen into all of this. I mean, the reason why I wrote the book was when I was applying for fire departments, I thought, I was learning things as I went that I should have known.
Yeah.
That was why I was basically articling. So I was keeping track of things I was learning. And I thought, for a career that everybody apparently wanted, why is there no guideline on, how to choose this course over that course, or how to, put your resume together, how to do certain things? I thought, I'm gonna have to create it. So that's what I did. And it was more just a pay it forward type thing. My books and I've spent a lot of time helping people get into the fire service. I was, a lot of people, I was their first phone call when they got hired. They called me. And I never charged anything for any resume writing or anything. It was always just about giving back. And I thought it was amazing. But then it kind of dawned on me that as I'm losing firefighters, and they're retiring and dying of massive heart attacks or suicide, we have mental health, we have, this job it just eats you up. And, if you're not careful. And even if you are careful. So for me, it was like I was helping people get into the fire service, but what about my brothers and sisters that are already here? And I was so sick and tired of losing people that I loved. So yeah. And I
And
think
so
that's really what was pushing me. So
and so this you had this light that came and it said, start your own health and safety magazine.
yeah,
Like
it's
walk me through just that whole like where you get that idea and that idea actually becomes a reality, because I'm sure that, from the inception of that idea to the first time you actually sent your magazine out in print, I mean, there was probably a pretty good lapse in there of time.
Yeah. So I searched. So when I was working in the publishing industry for about 10 years. And so I had some background in creating, different documents and media kits and, things like that, and putting together and working with associations and try to make something vibrant, and needed, I guess, for the industry I was serving, whatever it was. So I knew I was kind of doing some discovery on what do I do. I wanted to quit. I realized I wasn't advancing in that career, because I was a full-time firefighter. They couldn't give me titles like to manage like that. So, but I wanted more. I wanted more, and then I ended up I quit and thought if I'm going to work this hard for somebody else, I might as well work from, the people that I work with, and again, and inspired by an industry that I'm in. So it became, what do I do? And so Crackyl I had to come up with a name, obviously, had to come up with what it would be. But I actually, 6 years ago, before I even started Crackyl, had created a lifestyle and health magazine for firefighters. The pillars that I have today were designed then. Um, so it was something I've been sitting on for a while, and then just didn't have the guts, I think, to do it. Or maybe the timing wasn't there either. I had lots to learn. I still have lots to learn. So I think again, life is like that. It wasn't the right time, and it became the right time. So
Was there
usually
was there a catalyst? Was there somebody that finally said, "Get off your butt. Like, this is a great idea. It's needed. Do it."
yeah,
Was
no. So I knew I wanted to do something other than what I was doing. So I almost, number one was open a Lego store. That was one of the things I was thinking of doing. Obviously you can see all the Lego in behind me here.
mhm.
So that was something that was fun. I was doing that with the kids and creating different things, and enjoyed the expression of it. But I've always been creative. And then the magazine kind of came back. And the guy I was actually working with was a firefighter that I work with, and we would have our own meetings, and he was working on some health and wellness, projects, and really, developing kids in minor hockey and things like that. So it was a grit and determination type book. And and then I was working on kind of building out this lifestyle and health magazine. So we were brainstorming, what that would look like. And he actually passed away. So as I had just kind of figured out what Crackyl was, I hadn't published anything yet, and he had committed suicide, and right out from under my nose. And it was one of those things where now when every issue that's published, I think of him, and it's kind of really him. And I had these, we were in the trenches figuring out what the hell we were going to do with, each of our projects. And he never got to see one of them, you know. So it was it's too bad. But I, continued on, and so again, nothing proves more why it's needed, that it's needed. Um, again, it happened right under my nose, and there's just it's just, we have so much to learn still.
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
I had no idea, and that is powerful, and
yeah,
that's definitely motivation. Um, I taught all last week, um, and I share a video in which it shows me talking about behavioral health and suicide, and that whole video, and I show the video and I don't give it any context. I just play it and then I talk about it afterwards. But the gist of it is that whole time I'm talking and I'm telling everybody to do this and do that and go seek help, and I'm being a complete hypocrite at that point in time, and I'm having my own ideation
Mhm.
during that time, and a month later, I'm at the Center of Excellence in Maryland. So I fooled everybody for months. So um,
We're good at
those
it. Yeah.
those we are like
Yeah.
I just I joke, and it's not really I guess a joke, but I'm like, give me an Oscar because I acted my butt off
Totally. Yeah.
for months and fooled everybody. So those signs and symptoms that we know, the withdrawal, the hopelessness, I mean, all those big red flags sometimes aren't present. They're just not.
Mhm.
So maybe
Yeah,
you
well,
want
I did it on a different scale. I did it on a health scale. So I end up having some physical heart issues um, that I kind of ignored for many years, and it was a fibrillation, and but that would be normal, but then it would kind of go into what I would call like a spell, where I would get flushed out and kind of go gray, and I dealt with that for years, and it was something that my doctor always said, oh, because we were talking about it, and it would be, a lot of times it's people's head kind of anxiety and things makes the heart do things, but my heart was actually it was doing things and then creating the anxiety. Um, so, and I hid from it because I knew it was probably going to affect my firefighting career, or, you're scared, and we're men. So that's what men do. We ignore it. And I was ignorant. So, and then it caught up with me, and I almost died. So my heart was at a 20% rejection factor. I had 3 nights in the couch where my lungs, had water, and I couldn't lay down, but I couldn't sleep, but I didn't want to go and get help. So I literally fought and fought and fought, and I was dying. And so I end up waking my wife up, and I'm like, I'm done. I give up. I can't do it. And I was off work at this point, just on sick because I wasn't feeling well, and knew I had to do something, but I thought I could just get better. I went to a walk-in clinic. They wanted to call an ambulance, and I told them, don't call an ambulance. I'll go to the hospital. So I talked them out of it because that's what we do. We're good at that, right? And I went home. I went home. I didn't go.
you didn't even go.
No, I went home, and my wife asked me how it went, and then I said it was fine. Like it was, yeah, I was killing myself just because I didn't want to put myself out there. So
And
then,
like, I know we're all stubborn,
uh-huh. Yeah.
but you're taking it to a whole new level
I
here.
was beyond stubborn, man. Like I was in a whole new world, and still parenting, still hanging out with the kids, still doing everything I had to do, but I was literally dying. And then when I gave up, we went to the hospital, went to the emerge. I had an IV in my arm within, I don't know, 5 minutes of walking in the hospital. And they kept me for a week. The resident doctor ended up sitting at the edge of my bed the first night because he wanted to meet me because of all I was still doing P90X workouts. I was still on the job, still doing all these things. And here I am operating at a 20% rejection factor. So it was kind of that's when I really started to hit me that, what, maybe there is something wrong with me. Maybe I'm not just, it's not all in my head. Or I started to realize that, what, this is, I took it too far. And so then the road to recovery happened. So I was obviously wasn't at work. I was off a year. I was home. My heart, I was on medication to slow my heart down. I was on medication to help my heart compress, to basically, relax it and help it recover. My heart was enlarged. The walls in the heart were enlarged for so long, trying to, trying to make me function. My resting heart rate was like 160, and it was clocked over 300, which, at that point, it's not doing anything anyway. So, but it was, one of those things. So I did ablation therapy where they cauterized, and, um, anyway, so it was, I did that 4 times. I did 4 ablation, therapies, and, I've been better since, and I was off work for a year. So then the mental health, side of it started happening, where my phone stopped ringing. People, because I'm the go-to guy. the phone stopped ringing, people stopped coming over, you know, it just got quiet, right? And I wasn't I wasn't able to drink or socialize that way, and I just kind of came back. And that's kind of where the Lego kind of came in there, because I was able to just kind of do something else, really. Um, so it was quite a journey back, but my heart did restore. Everything came back like your heart's a muscle, so it was able to completely restore itself. And and I was inverted, cardio inverted, so I call myself 2.0 version. And so here we are. So that the magazine's really, I can get there when people want to talk about things. I can get there. I can get there on all different kinds of levels. So really, it's just we're all capable you know of these things, and I would say, like, we can talk ourselves in and out of anything. That's the firefighter way, man. So
That's right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. And it's not a pity story. And there's things where, I was proud of the way I was a father. I was proud of the way, well, that I'm a husband, enjoyed my friends. I didn't change it. I didn't want to change a thing. I wanted to just go back to doing that again. So there was a moment there too where
Can is it safe to say that although, and this is going to be hindsight looking back, although that was a lot to go through, both physically and mentally, I imagine though that ultimately um, it just made you stronger. And also, I think probably, correct me if I'm wrong, it probably helped you prioritize things as well. Like you kind of had to really focus on what was important. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, yeah, I think it definitely, again, like, I didn't change too much. But it really kind of brought the magazine, when that did come to life, it gives that's what kind of keeps me going, all these things, like, I have a lot of gas in the tank. I'm just getting started. That's how I feel. Because I haven't really done anything yet. I feel, as much as I've created a publication, I've done certain things, I've met amazing people, but you know, we're not where we need to be yet. So, you know, and when we get there, I hope we all know, but
I I will say I hope that you are taking at least a quick moment here and there to just go, I may not be where I want to be, but where I'm at right now is still incredible because you're already making a huge difference.
yeah,
Like I hope you're smelling the roses a little bit along the way.
I try. I mean, I have an amazing team around me.
Because I get that. I get the, every year when Nick and I throw this conference, we sit down the very next week and we go, how do we top that?
Right.
And it's a constant battle that I think will never actually end. Like we're always
Yeah.
going to have that attitude, but with that attitude, I have tried to just realize, like, to be in the moment and realize, hey, like this is great. Like
Yeah.
what we're doing right now is tremendous, and Um, well, we're going to try to top it because that's how we are. But like, I do appreciate, and I kind of, I'd like to try to stay in that afterglow a little bit longer than I
Sure.
used to.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I have moments where a lot of emotions kind of, come to a head, right? And I think it's a lot of it just being grateful. You just, again, for the people, my team around me, people like yourself. You've been on this journey as well, trying to figure this all out. And I've met so many amazing people that are doing this. So
Let's talk about that for a second.
sure.
This guy right here,
Yes. Yeah.
Dennis Leary. You know, I remember a couple months having a conversation with James Gearing, and he was frustrated. He was jealous would probably be the word because he's trying to get this guy unsuccessfully but you got them. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, it
Not
was.
not about James Garrett, but no,
Yeah,
about actually getting Dennis to be involved and help you out, and then and that would tail perfectly into just a couple weeks ago being at the Rock with him.
sure. Yeah, like again, I think I've been ever since I started Crackle. I thought, can you imagine if I get, Dennis Leary on the cover type thing? It was something my pie in the sky. Um, so a lot of everything I've done since the beginning has been try to get myself in a position to be able to even, have him entertain the idea.
Sure.
I think is um yeah, and so I was able to kind of get in touch with him, um, through our friends, different people that we know, and Frank Lead from FDNY. He's been such a huge supporter of what we're doing. And yeah, the moons aligned. The moons aligned. And I was able to track him down. I was able to kind of get in front of him and ask him. So, and even his team, they have no idea why he said yes to Crackle. They he said he gets offers all the time, turns them down, and so we were able to get him to look our way. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Very
and then
cool.
from there was great. It was a great interview. And again, I mean, he's been kind of around the fire service. Obviously, he's tied to it. Kind of grew up in that, and then obviously losing his cousin and close friend, um, he was kind of compelled to be part of this journey that the fire service is on, and helping in some way and capacity that he feels makes sense, you know, and for him, and that was the Leary Foundation. So yeah,
Very,
incredible. Yeah.
very cool stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm really glad that worked out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, you talk about taking moments. Well, I took a moment on that one. I
Good.
couldn't believe it. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. I was very grateful. And then the other side of it is like, I'm not gonna mess this up. Like gonna we're
Yeah.
gonna do this.
Yeah.
So now I have some work to do. So
Yeah. No. Again, you definitely have some momentum. And let's kind of just talk about that. You were at FDIC this year,
it
and
was.
you played a much bigger part than you've had in the past. I did stop by. I don't even know if you knew I stopped by. I stopped by. You
I
weren't
missed you.
there.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, but that's I mean that's FDIC for you. But why don't you talk about, if you don't mind, about kind of your relationship now with fire engineering and FDIC, because that's other great news.
Yeah. 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 So I mean, coming into the fire service and obviously creating another publication is tricky. We have our trade publications now, and Crockle was, something different. It was more of a B2C it was kind of a hybrid between B2B and B2C magazine, but it's for the firefighter. It's for the person, that's a firefighter. That's what Crackle is. And for me, it was always making sure that our trade publications were aware of what I was doing. That was a big part of it for me. So we need them. We need our trade pubs, and that's why I got into this, because I love magazines. I love this world. I love the quick pace of it. It's not for everybody, but I love it. And and then meeting them was even like that was a Dennis Leary thing for me when I'm talking to David Rhodes and in meeting Bobby Holton. That was huge to me. Those are my, like, the fact that I'm sitting there having conversations with them. I'm just a firefighter. Like that's how and now I'm, talking to the people that are running these magazines that I idolized, you know. So those are some moments as well. And then, being part of FDIC, I'm a magazine in the health and safety and wellness side of things, and it's like a 10 by 10 booth isn't getting that done, you know. It's just I can hand out 300 magazines, I can hand out 2,000 magazines. It doesn't matter. It's just still it's really about the messaging. It's really about having firefighters stop for a minute and pay attention and just think about how they fit into this health and wellness space. And a lot of them you mentioned, we're a health and lifestyle magazine, and they back away a little bit because they know they're not in the best shape, or they're this or that, or they have things that they're hiding, and they're like, whoa, I don't know, they're what is this? And and it's kind of a discovery when they start to see it, that we're not yelling at them, we're talking to them in this magazine, and that's our dialect. And we're anyway, so that was kind of that that's what we found with FDIC, and then being able to partner with them and kind of do more than just have a booth. It was more about how can we change the trajectory of the fire service, and what does that look like? So we had some great conversations, and they have an amazing team as well, and we were able to kind of give some more attention to this space. So yeah.
I I just gotta tell you, I love that they embraced you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you would ask me beforehand, I think how they would have reacted, I would have been more probably inclined to think that they would have considered you competition.
Mhm.
And I love the fact that that's not their mentality, that they realize what you're doing is different, and they're embracing you, and they're actually teaming up with you.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
I
incredible.
I can't say I saw that coming.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, I mean, timing probably has a lot to do with things. And again, I made it very clear that I'm not getting in the ring with people that I'm not in the I'm not doing that, you know. I'll do whatever I can to protect our magazines, really. And that's kind of the way I feel. And and I've said it since the beginning of doing this, is like we're not going to get where we need to be if we're all trying to do it on our own. And I do believe that we all really, it has to be one mission. It has to be one mission, that probably an Amazon delivery. Um, I don't know if you heard the doorbell. The So it's really about you know aligning and trying to do better. And I obviously that maybe the timing's there for this to happen. So it's been incredible, really. And I think we're rewriting the rule book here a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. And I
That's good.
yeah.
It's
And
needed.
yeah. And I'm excited. Our next issue, our summer issues, we have our editors on the cover. We have David Rhodes, Pete Matthews from Firehouse, and Janelle Scott from Fire Rescue One. So, like, how incredible is that?
No, and that is incredible.
Yeah.
And like you were able to put that together. It's
Yeah.
impressive, truly.
Yeah.
Like that is I didn't see that coming again. Like you continue to amaze. And you're probably finding yourself in that same situation that I talked about earlier where you go, all right, how am I going to top of this?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's not really topping. I think I look at how am I going to turn heads in different areas. So again, Leary on the cover, that's turning the firefighter head. That's making, that's for you and I, the having our editors on the cover of a magazine together, that's for our companies. That's for our trade shows, the people that are supporting trade shows and trying to drive business, to see that's for them. I think the firefighter on the floor probably doesn't give a shit, but I think, because we don't know.
That's right.
Um, that's not where we're operating. But the businesses that support our fire service, bring us their tools, equipment, trucks, that's for them. this covers for them.
Very
That's
cool.
the way I looked at that. So yeah, and I, you know, yeah, it's incredible, honestly. And it's the editorial lifestyle. These people are everywhere. You know, I call them the unsung heroes. Really, they bring us all our news and events, and running these. They're everywhere. They're torn in all these different directions. And when do they ever get any credit for that? So that's really what it's about. It's a tribute to them.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I love that you were the one that was able to actually bring them together for that. So I'm excited for that issue.
Yeah. Yeah. I am too. I am too. And they're just incredible people. So
So we've talked a lot about the issues, um, being in print and everything, but let's kind of change up what we're talking about. You actually just a couple months ago dropped an app as well.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you go into that? How like why you felt like that would be helpful to get you out there and how that's kind of worked out since you
Sure.
unveiled it.
Yeah. So I mean, with today's day and age and trying to reach people, it was important for me to reach firefighters where they are. And having people come to your website's one thing, but I wanted something that met them when they're having that 5 minute downtime, whatever it is, to have it so it's there for them when they're ready. And then the other side of it is really, our first version came out. We launched it at FDIC, and so that's our starting point. That's a lot of effort and work and time and energy to get to that point. So it's the app is going to be a work in progress. We're already working on kind of version 2 right now, and we already know version 3 and 4. So it's a work in progress. I'm extremely excited about it, and kind of that's our that's our. I think it's going to be our tool to really start supporting firefighters the way that we need to be supported. And
I
how it's going
love
to
that.
happen, we'll see.
Well, I love that you're going after that younger generation.
Yeah, I think hopefully it's for every generation, but definitely our firefighters coming in
I'm
will it'll be
I
seamless
mean,
for them.
yeah, I mean, I'm still the guy that likes to hold things in my hand,
Sure.
paper and bigger words. Um, but that's I think our generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're right. These kids, I'm gonna call them kids because they're kids compared to us, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's just how they take things in now. So I love how you're meeting them there.
Yeah. I
Because
think yeah.
you're still getting value, you're still getting all these stories to them. You're just the delivery system is different. That's all, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And there won't be, ads and things distracting. It's going to be built with the firefighter in mind. And that's
Good.
that's the idea. Yeah. So definitely encourage, your listeners to download it and watch it evolve as we kind of get better at what we're doing, and as it changes, and hopefully it's again, it will be a tool. It won't just be articles. There'll be things on there that will actually you know support you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then I want to talk about Brothers Helping Brothers.
Yes.
You've been a part of our conference the last previous 2
2 years.
years.
Yeah.
How did and because I don't even remember, and my memory is not the greatest, but like I don't even remember how you got involved with us, with Nick and I. Do you remember?
Yeah, I was like, we just I had heard about the conference. Kind of we knew of each other, and then
Yeah,
we finally met, right? And then we came to the show, like the conference, and it was like then I was hooked forever.
it was. Yeah, that was.
It
Yeah,
was it was pretty simple. It was, because you're a couple hours away from where I am, so I was, it's an easy drive, and there was
who
no
doesn't
reason.
want to visit exotic Beaver Creek, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. There
Yeah,
wasn't any reason to not go,
yeah.
really.
Well, I think, during that time, we kind of realized that so many of the topics that we were discussing at the conference, you had already discussed in the magazine.
Right.
And it just, I mean, the team, this is our first year coming up where we're officially kind of teaming up, but it was a no brainer. It made perfect sense. I think last year I said that, um, and I'm paraphrasing myself, but I think I said something along the lines of, like, if you like this, if you like our speakers, if you like the topics, like, you know, those guys are doing this all in a print edition,
Yeah.
being you
Yeah.
guys,
Well,
being Crackyl. Yeah.
yeah, you're like the live version of the magazine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it made sense to kind of team up and do this stuff. And I'm excited. I know we're still months away from our show and seeing each other again, but I always look forward to, being able to actually hang out with you for a couple days, even though if it's like, and you
Like a
understand this
whirlwind.
from being
Yeah.
FDIC, it's like whenever you do a conference, it's like doing your wedding.
Yeah.
And yes, you get to see everybody, but like you are just saying like hello for like 2 minutes, and then you're on to the next
And
person.
you're moving. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still, even though we're together for a couple days, it's still not the quality of time that we probably deserve.
Yeah. But it's great, isn't it?
It is. It
Yeah.
is. And no, this is like we're excited of doing this and just having you being involved and being a bigger part than you
Yeah.
have in
Yeah.
the past.
Yeah. It was a no-brainer on that front. I just wanted to, obviously help in any way we can. It's such a great conference. Again, I encourage anybody listening to this that hasn't been to go, and those that have been, go again. I don't think it's a one and done. I think it's I look at it as it's the one conference of the year that's for you. You
Hmm.
know, it's not for anybody else. It's you're listening and you interpret what you or take away what you want from the speakers, and you kind of think about yourself. And that's how I really kind of stepped away from that. You know, I never remember the ride home. I'm thinking about all the things and
Yeah.
trying to remember everything, and you know, and I just, yeah, kind of, it's a reset. I find it's a reset. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's nicely
Especially
said. Thank
being 20 years in, like it's, we're supposedly the most susceptible right now to all kinds of things because we're 20 years on the job and 10 years to go, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Perfect. So
yeah.
we went over a lot of stuff already. Is there anything else that you have hidden that you've been working on that you want to discuss? And I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But like you said, I think earlier before we even started, you've got 1,000 things in your head moving on at the same time.
We're just trying to for me it's really the app and the magazine, just trying to get those, get them, keep putting out good products, and obviously trying to reach as many firefighters as we can, get, fire departments to sign up. The subscriptions are like $25. You get 4 issues mailed to your door. It sits around the firehouse, and our magazines, we don't cover current events, so it's always current. um and we're kind of telling a story. It's it's breadcrumb trails to doing better, really, is what it is. And
Yes.
yeah, so definitely encourage that. We're trying to just get better at that process of making it easier and easier for our fire departments to sign up, things like that. Like, you know,
Where do our listeners or viewers actually can where should they go? I can't talk. It's like I have a radio show. Like, what's going on? Where should everybody go and actually find out more information about the magazine?
yeah, the easiest right now would be the website, so crackle.com. And then
And how do
yeah,
you spell crackle? 'Cause that's important too.
so Crackyle.
And why'd you spell it that way?
Well, so there's a bit of story. So the crackling is obviously the crackle of a fire, that you can hear it,
Yeah.
you can feel it, but you can't see it. So that's the magazine. It's always there. And then the why is, every time I was explaining crackle, I was saying we're building immune systems for firefighters, and that's, so the why is a symbol for the immune. So that was, I put it right in the name, to make it a little different as well. And then the underscore is, we're trying to keep firefighters in the, like a traffic light. We're trying to keep them in the amber to the green and not the red line. So that's kind of our logo.
I love it.
Yeah. So there's lots of thought there. And yeah, so that's the easiest way to get it. And it's all free. The digital versions are all free. It's just an email address, I think, that gets you access, and then you can see our entire library of all our past issues. They're on my wall here. Um, and everything's there. We want firefighters to have access to this content. And then we have a ton of articles online as well. And obviously in the app. Now it's a better transition in the app. Um, so that's how, where we're at right now. So, and the app is it's Crackyl. You'll find it in the App Store for Android and Apple.
Perfect.
Yeah,
All right. Well, hey, I know you're an ultra busy guy, so I really do appreciate you making time for us. Um,
always.
Great show. You covered a ton of stuff. Just keep doing what you're doing because
Yeah,
it is
you too.
amazing,
You too.
amazing work. I'm okay. I have moments, but
Congrats on your book. Yeah,
oh, thank you, thank you. But no, you're consistent through and throughout, and I'm so glad. And I know I can speak for Nick too. We're so glad to have you,
awesome.
as part of this, moving forward. So, but with that, we'll get out of here. He's Kory, and I'm Jim. And until next time, take care.
See you guys.